Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Warriors are not doing well. In addition to the constant injury problems of some players, this team looks disjointed and tired. Something needs to be done quickly so that the Warriors can return to the NBA Finals. Once again, Kevin Durant appears as the savior, but will it be possible to bring him back? Yes, he just needs to ask for a trade, something that could happen at any time, due to Kevin Durant's dissatisfaction with the Phoenix Suns. Proposed exchange of 4 for 1 star moves the NBA. Only a trade with epic proportions might save the Golden State Warriors' spiraling season. Kevin Durant returning to the Bay is a dream scenario for the Warriors, who dropped to 21-21 after a 125-85 shellacking at home against the defending champion Boston Celtics on Martin Luther King Day. The embarrassing blowout loss kicked them out of the play-in picture in the loaded Western Conference. Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes is pushing for a dream Durant trade that he noted would only become a reality if Durant seeks another relocation from Phoenix, which is locked in mediocrity by the crippling second apron of the luxury tax. Hughes' grand trade idea is to swap 4 of the Warriors' rotation players, 2 of them starters, and their first-round draft capital for Durant. Golden State Warriors receive Kevin Durant. Phoenix Suns receive Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney, Gary Payton II, 2026 first-round pick, 2028 first-round pick. A 4-for-1 deal that comes within roughly $135,000 of being illegal and requires the Suns to waive a pair of contracts in the process is pretty far-fetched. But desperate times call for desperate measures, Hughes wrote. Durant's departure in 2019 remains one of the biggest sliding door moments in NBA history. The Warriors might have won more championships had he stayed. They were on the cusp of a three-peat in 2019 until his and Klay Thompson's injuries derailed them in the NBA Finals against the Kawhi Leonard-led Toronto Raptors. Bringing Durant back for a second tour would be a short-sighted, all-in move. But it would be in service of Curry, giving him the shot at contention he's owed. Successfully capturing one more ring may be unrealistic under any circumstances, but it'd be slightly more plausible with Durant back on board, Hughes added. As Hughes repeatedly noted, a Durant trade won't happen unless he asks for one, which, can we really pretend that's off the table? This trade hinges on Durant getting disgruntled about the Suns' murky future. Phoenix is staring down one of the bleakest futures in the league. Capped out, bereft of picks, wildly inflexible and barely hanging around the play-in mix, the Suns are a sinking ship, Hughes wrote. Durant might actually be doing Phoenix a favor by agitating to leave. The Suns get to retool around Devin Booker and Bradley Beal with more defensive depth with the veteran trio of Wiggins, Payton and Looney, take a flyer on Kuminga and recoup some draft capital for flexibility. While Warriors' 36-year-old superstar Stephen Curry said he's against a desperate trade that will mortgage the team's future, he clarified that he's not accepting mediocrity. Anyone who thinks I'm okay with being on an average basketball team is insane, Curry said after they barely beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 116-115 on January 15. Trade machines are fun, but what does that actually look like? We're gonna handle our business. Mike Dunleavy is gonna handle his. We will see where we end up. While a Durant trade is a far-fetched idea, it's not impossible as things tend to quickly change in the NBA. Stephen Curry all for team making sound trades. Per ESPN's own Young Masuk, with just over 2 weeks left until the February 6 NBA trade deadline, Curry had this to say about how he responds to Warriors management when approached for input on potential trades, as well as what he wants out of the rest of the season, Hat Tip Clutch Points Josue Pavon. We're trying to be a realistic threat in a playoff series, Curry said. If Mike calls and says, hey, this is an opportunity to do X, Y, Z, I give my opinion. My hope is that, if there's no action at the deadline, it's not because of a lack of effort. If we don't have a chance to get better, my whole thing is I want to win, and whatever that means, all efforts are pointed towards that I can kind of live with whatever happens. Curry is the heart and soul of the franchise. The two-time NBA MVP shares strong sentiments that particular teammates of his and front office personnel hold regarding the sheer importance of winning. With just over 2 weeks left until the February 6 NBA trade deadline, Curry had this to say about how he responds to Warriors management when approached for input on potential trades, as well as what he wants out of the rest of the season. Hat tip Clutch Points Josue Pavon. "We're trying to be a realistic threat in a playoff series," Curry said. "If Mike calls and says, 'Hey, this is an opportunity to do X, Y, Z,' I give my opinion. My hope is that, if there's no action at the deadline, it's not because of a lack of effort. If we don't have a chance to get better, my whole thing is I want to win, and whatever that means, all efforts are pointed towards that I can kind of live with whatever happens." Curry is the heart and soul of the franchise. The two-time NBA MVP shares strong sentiments that particular teammates of his and front office personnel hold regarding the sheer importance of winning. Warriors have many premier talents they can trade for. The good thing is that Golden State has a myriad of ways that they can get better ahead of the deadline. Several centers could join their ranks to beef up their interior, including Kelly Olynyk, Toronto Raptors, and Nikola Vucevic, Chicago Bulls. There are also other marquee talents on the trade block such as John Collins, Utah Jazz, and Cam Johnson, Brooklyn Nets, with Chris Middleton, Milwaukee Bucks, also having his name floated in rumors. As presently constructed, the Warriors appear to be one or two pieces away from returning to true championship contention. Any of the aforementioned players would improve their unit and bring them one step closer to title number 5 in the Curry and Draymond Green era. So long as a deal won't mortgage off the team's future, Curry appears to be on board with whatever will bring them closest to the Larry O'Brien Trophy again. Warriors doomed to three-word fate this season, says Charles Barkley. On Monday night, the Golden State Warriors got blown out by the Boston Celtics, 125-85 in their biggest home loss over the last 4 decades. The Warriors entered the game as underdogs, but at 21-21 on the season, it's safe to say that their light years dynasty is over. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are still hanging on and producing, but the stars and supporting cast have taken a significant step back since their last title in 2022. In theory, the Warriors could trade their young players like Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, or Tracy Jackson-Davis to add a veteran next to Curry and Green, but the two stars have both urged the team to not risk the future for an improbable chance at success in the present. If the Warriors don't make a move, they will stick to losing, but making a trade and ruining what future they have might not be worth it, either. "Steph is one of the best ever," said Charles Barkley during halftime against the Celtics. "He's starting to slow down, Draymond is starting to slow down, they gotta figure it out. Are they going to stick to losing or are they going to make a trade?" For now, Barkley says, the Warriors are just in trouble. "They're in a similar situation to the Lakers," added Kenny Smith. The Los Angeles Lakers, to their credit, are at least in the playoff picture. Both Curry and LeBron James are aging and nearing the end of their careers, but it looks like James has more of a chance of going out on a high note than Curry and the Warriors do.